Economic policy refers to the actions that the government takes in the field of economics. We believe that any product that is made is well enough for us. We were on that self-satisfaction mode. The central bank was completely on a default position. We were not able to pay back the money. We were completely cash strapped. Good morning and welcome to the session 4 in the bridge course for economics, where we are going to see about a very interesting topic called as the new economic policy. Now, what could have been more interesting for India rather than getting its own internal revolution in economics? Why? Because the year 1991 cannot be forgotten in the history as well as in the economic growth cycle of India. Now, the economic policy refers to the actions that the government takes in the field of economics, and it covers the systems for setting up the levels of taxation, government budget, money supply, labor, and the other markets. So every year, the government of India will embark on the journey of creating new economic policy. The reason is very simple. Why? Because the government wants to see where we stand on a comparison basis, on a comparative stand versus the developing nations. So every year, India will try to compare, will try to set across different benchmark in terms of making our country an economic superpower. We started this exercise in the year 1991, where we opened the doors of the economic revolution, which made India not just a superpower, but then a power that cannot be defeated by any other countries in the world. So the pre-economic scenario, let's just go back to history for a while and come back to the present. I want you to just switch your time machine back to the era of pre-1991. So when we go back to that situation, the policy that was created was more on this word called as protectionism. We were a country which just lived like a pearl inside a shell. We were on the protective cover altogether. We believe that the entire nation, the entire economy has to be well covered, well protected. We don't want to go outside the borders. We never wanted to make our country a revolutionized country. We never wanted to see India's name across the different international borders. We wanted a country which is well secured, well built only for the people of India. We believe that any product that is made is well enough for us. We were on that self-satisfaction mode. But is that mode good? Was that really helping India? The answer was no. Why? Because we were trying to protect the business. We were not actually helping the business to grow. We were actually trying to make the business not understand their strength, their capacity, their ability. We were trying to hold them back, so the business regulation was so very tight that they were not able to think across the borders. They were not able to think about export. So our condition before the year 1991 was not really good. We were actually trying to hold back ourselves. We didn't want to see that the FDI grew up, or we never were bothered about what is the export or what is the scenario when it comes to the international level of competition. So our scenario was quite tight before the year 1991. Now, what were the drawbacks? The first thing I would like to use the word is called as license Raj. The second thing is called as the import substitution. Everything in India was on licensing. You want to start a business, wait in the queue for hours, for days, for years and months to get a license. You want to start a manufacturing unit, again go back to that word called as license. What was happening to India is on the word called as restriction. We never wanted businesses or entrepreneurship as what you are seeing today to open up just like that. Today, when you just open up the pages of the paper, you see hundreds and thousands of companies blooming and blossoming like flowers here and there. But that was not the scenario 20, 30 years back. Why? Because we were restricting people from starting up new businesses. We wanted every single business to go through the policy, the guidelines, the licensing, and so many other formalities. The documentation was huge. Every single Indian company or an entrepreneur felt that probably India is not my destination. Let me migrate to UK, US, Canada, France, or any other country in this world, because India is not going to allow me to grow. India is still holding back on that licensing factor. That will be a major drawback for me. So definitely, yes, that proved to be a major drawback. Followed by the import substitution. We believed some years back that we are not capable of producing. We are only capable of importing. If some goods is available at some corner of the world, let's import it. We will pay the money, we will import it, but we are not that world-class manufacturer. Be it auto parts, be it chemical goods, be it leather, or be it any other items for that matter, or even electronics, we are not that foremost leader. We are not those person who can go forward and create for ourselves. So we started on the import basis, by which we had to spend millions and millions of dollars in terms of importing the goods. So that was not really good. Why? Because you are spending out on your money. You are really burning out the cash, which was not accepted as a good economic reform. So when you look at back, these drawbacks really made the Indian economy cripple down. That was not expected at all. So the 1991 economic crisis, exactly on the year 1991, what happened? The balance of payment, we were not able to pay back. There was a huge debt that was looming around on the Indian economy. The central bank was completely on a default position. We were not able to pay back the money. We were completely cash trapped. The central bank, the RBI, did not have the money. Look at the scenario. And RBI, which is supposed to be the nominal head, the figurehead of the Indian economy, was completely in doldrums. The foreign exchange reserve have completely dipped down. We do not even have $1 billion in our account. Can't believe today we are talking about more than $500 billion in our kitty. But then, now, the rising prices of the essential goods, all the essential goods, the prices started going up like anything. The consumer, the normal man, the ordinary middle class man felt that India is not going to be a place for me to survive. I'm completely devastated. Why? Because the economic crisis was telling at that point of time that we have to do something new. We have to break open the doors of restriction. We have to start coming forward in terms of building a new competitive India. We have to build India that's going to define competition at the next level altogether. So that's why I would say that the economic crisis led to the solution of building a new reform altogether. And what was that reform? Stabilization measure and structural measure. One side, we wanted to stabilize India. We wanted to make India a calm down position. We wanted to come down. We wanted to say that, yes, we will control the prices. We will make India again a normal living condition based India, a place where every citizen should feel happy and secured. The second thing, we wanted to build structural measures. We started identifying those areas where India could provide a potential aspect for growth, be it in auto parts, be it in banking, be it in chemical sector, agriculture sector, manufacturing sector, or in services. India will identify its potentiality, open up the door, and then start growing forward. Probably that was the year, in the year 1992, when India started coming up with a lot of privatization in terms of the banking, in terms of manufacturing and the services sector, which led to a very big revolution in the economy. Why? Because we started not just understanding competition, but we started accepting competition. We started becoming a competitive nation altogether, and we started working on getting a competitive edge for ourselves. So that year of reform was a massive turn for India. Followed by the key to success. You cannot just forget these three words: liberalization, privatization, and globalization. These three key words are these words which turned India into a global success, a global landmark altogether. We liberalized all those reforms. We liberalized all those documentation process. We started concentrating on private companies, and we started believing that India does not belong just to Indians, but India belongs to the world. We are the country who are going to define the rules of competition. We are the country who are going to define the norms of manufacturing, and we are the country who are going to set the standards of services. So that's where we believe that globalization is going to pave a path to success. And we started reforming ourselves. We started moving away from all the clutters, from all the clutches of licensing, documentation, and all those long-standing queues. We started embracing technology. We started opening up the doors in all private sectors, which could reach the customer at a speed of light, and our business started growing up tremendously in leaps and bounds. Followed by which, this is what the success story that we are seeing as the new economic policy. With this, I come to the end of this particular session. I hope and believe that all the important information that we have spoken about will be of a great help and resource to you. In the upcoming session, we shall see something more interesting in economics. But until then, stay tuned, stay blessed, and be enlightened. Thank you once again for joining me today on this particular session.